Hello everyone, welcome to our series of history lecture. Myself Dr. Shariq Khan. Today we are going to discuss results or the consequences of the first war of independence. So in the last series we discussed the causes and results of the first war of independence. In this video we will discuss the results or the consequences of the revolt of 1857. You see that once this uprising got over and now British government, they passed a new act that was known as Government of India Act of 1858. Okay, so this Government of India 1858 Act was passed, and according to this act, now the East India Company's rule came to an end. Till now East India Company was ruling here, but after this Act of 1858, the Act Company's rule came to an end and power was transferred from East India Company to British Crown. Okay, so East India Company's rule came to an end, power was transferred from East India Company to British Crown. Till now British East India Company's Board of Control was there and Court of Directors was there, but both of these, Board of Control as well as Court of Directors, these were abolished, and now this Board of Control and Court of Director, it was replaced by Secretary of State. So now the Indian head, he will be called Secretary of State, and this Secretary of State was to be assisted by 15 members. 15 members, they are going to assist the Secretary of State of Indian Council, and out of which 15 members, 9 of them were those who have served or resided in India for at least 10 years. So it means one Indian Council will be formed which will consist of 15 members. Out of these 15 members, 9 of them will be those who have administrative experience of India, those who have resided, those who have served here for at least 10 years. Secretary of State's salary and allowances were to be paid out of the revenues of India. It means the salaries and allowances of the Secretary of State, it will be paid from the revenues of India. From Indian revenues his salaries will be paid. Then it was also proclaimed that appointment to the civil services were to be made by open competition and under the rules made by the Secretary of State. So the Secretary of State, whatever rules he will make, according to those rules, this competition for civil services will be open to all. It will not discriminate the citizens of India on any ground, only that whatever rules made by the Secretary of State will be applicable. And then the Governor General, he was given the additional title of Viceroy. So in that way, Governor General, he got this additional title of Viceroy. He was the representative of Crown Prince as well as the Indian people. So he will work as per the direction of the British Parliament and according to the for the welfare of the common masses. So this Queen's Proclamation, as it was famously known as, it was drafted according to the wishes of the Queen Victoria and popularly known as Queen's Proclamation, which was made public on November 1, 1858. So from this time onward, this proclamation came into effect, and this proclamation was read by the first Viceroy and Governor General Lord Canning. Okay, so Lord Canning, who became the first Viceroy and Governor General of India, he read this Queen's Proclamation and declared all these policies related to the general public, related to the princes, related to the annexation of the territories, relaxation, declaration about the good governance of the people. As well as Charles Wood, he was given the responsibility of as the first Secretary of State. So in that way, finally, a long list of rules and regulation was declared. As we said that whatever proclamation was made, it was called Queen Victoria's Proclamation, and it included that now British are not going to interfere in the social and religious matters of the Indian, because it happened because British, they had interfered in lot of social and religious issues of Indian, and that is why there was lot of grievances among the masses that British are unnecessarily interfering in our social and religious matters. So British had realized their mistake, and they proclaimed that they are not going to interfere in the social and religious matters of the Indian, as well as they promised that now they are going to give equal treatment to all their subjects. It means no discrimination will be made between the Indians and the Europeans and all other communities. So there will be the equal treatment of all subjects, irrespective of their nationality or any ground. As well as they granted a general pardon to all those who have participated in the War of Independence. So all the people who have participated in the War of Independence, in the revolt, they were given a general pardon. But only those were not given the pardon who were involved in murder of British people. So those who were involved, those who were found guilty of murder of the British people, British subjects, they were not given the pardon, except that all of them were given general clemency. Then they also promised that they will work for the material and moral advancement of the people. They will make effort that Indian people, there is prosperity, there is a material advancement. They will do their best to set up the industries in India so that they generate employment for them, they bring the prosperity in the country. So these were some of the important promises made by Queen Victoria's proclamation, under this Queen Victoria's proclamation. Next important step was that they changed their policies towards the Indian princes and chiefs. So under this policy, now they abandoned the policy of doctrine of lapse. As you are aware that this policy of doctrine of lapse became one of the most important cause of the revolt of 1857. So now they said that this doctrine of lapse policy will not be followed, and the princes, they have the right to adoption and succession. It means they can adopt son if they do not have, and that adopted son can succeed them, as well as whatever treaties signed with them, these all treaties will be honored. Okay, so this made them that all these treaties of the company, they would be honored. They will have the right of adoption as well as succession, as well as they allowed the princes to adopt, but they took every step that they can make the Indian states militarily weak. So in that way, these princes, they could not sign treaty with other foreign power or among other states. They have to take permission first from the British before signing any treaty, as well as their military was also made very limited. One important result of this was that Mughal rule also came to an end, as Bahadur Shah Zafar, he was arrested and sent to Rangoon, deported there, he died there, so Mughal rule came to an end, and as well as office of Peshwa, that also came to an end. Nana Sahib, who fled to Nepal, and finally this office of Peshwa also came to an end. So in this way, two important enemies of British, they also, the rule of these two foes, Mughals and the Marathas, came to an end. Another important change which took place was in the reorganization of the army. Okay, so till now there was less representation of European soldiers, but now after the revolt of 1857, the number of soldiers, European soldiers, now were increased, and their appointment at number of important places was made more visible. More number of European soldiers were put at important places, as well as they continued to follow the policy of not giving the higher post to the Indians, as well as important artillery departments where arms and ammunition were there. Here, these departments, these areas were not handed over under the command of Indian soldiers. These posts were confined to the British soldiers only, as well as they continued to mix the soldiers of all caste, creed and religion, so that there is no mixing and there is no feeling of togetherness among them. If there will be mixed soldiers, then this will not cause for their unity. So it was strictly kept in mind that Indian soldiers should not be given higher posts, as well as segregation. Then second important result of this war of independence was that British started following the policy of divide and rule. They gave patronage to Indian chiefs, landlords, and they made them their loyal by giving them estates, by giving them huge territories, as well as they became a loyal supporter, and common masses, they ruled them. So common masses was not having any rights, they were just left at their fate, as well as they continued to follow the policy of rule between Hindus and Muslims also. You see that after the revolt of 1857, they held the Muslim responsible and they considered them as the main enemies. So that is why in the initial stage they sidelined the Muslims and supported the Hindus. They held them responsible for this revolt. Later stage, when they found that Hindus, they are growing, the feeling of nationalism is developing among them. So in later stage, now they sidelined the Hindus and started supporting the Muslims. So in this way, they continued to follow the policy of divide and rule, so that Indians should not come together and do not become a cause for the revolt, cause for any unity among them. So they continued to follow such policies which divide these communities and do not unite together against for any common cause, like it happened in the year of 1857 in the form of First War of Independence. Another important result was that it was economic exploitation of India. They made India as a colony where they continued to exploit its resources. They wanted to exploit as much resources as possible. They made India as a colony of taking the raw material from here and a biggest market of their finished products. So in that way, the handicraft people, they were totally ruined. There was no buyer of their handicrafts, while the Indian finished goods were cheaper in comparison to Indian handicraft, and they continued to send their finished products in India. So in that way, this economic exploitation of common masses continued, and all the people, workers and handicraft people, they all were totally ruined because of policy of segregation, policy of racial superiority, and the atrocities done by the British. It finally led the Indians to unite, and this tide of nationalism increased. Now people got united. They realized that their common enemy is British. They have to fight for the cause of the freedom of their nation. So from here now, there started the tide of nationalism because of the policies followed by them of divide and rule, policy followed by them of racial superiority, as well as atrocities done by them, not giving the equal rights to them. It all led to rise of nationalism in India. One other important result was that it increased the racial bitterness among the masses. British, they knew that they are racially superior. They considered themselves as racially superior and did not give the Indians equal rights, equality. They wanted to maintain a distance with the Indians, as they considered them as the racially inferior group, and this led to the racial bitterness among the Indian masses and the British. So these were some of the important results, important consequences of the First War of Independence. Hope you might have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to share and subscribe this video. Thank you.